into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey. Yup. We're just gonna... I feel like nodding my head to this song all night, but we do have a show to do. Thank you for joining us here at AfterBuzz TV's after show for WWE's SummerSlam pay-per-view. I am your host, as always, Steve Kauffman. That's at Steve Kauffman, Kauffmann. I am not alone, far from alone. I'm joined, as always, with both my Tough Enough and pay-per-view brethren.
Woo-woo!
Starting with George Hermoza, the Encyclopedia of Wrestling Knowledge, who I have a Stump George question.
Okay, what is it?
At the Intercontinental, we'll get to, in the Intercontinental match, we'll tell you.
14 times?
Nope, we changed it because Michael Cole spoiled that. But George Hermoza, who is too shy of 300 followers.
Oh, 298.
Yes.
The road, the hashtag, the road
that.
to I'm sorry. Let's start over. Rewind. Hey, my name is George Hermoza. My Twitter handle is at @ghermoza. I have 2 followers away from being 300. Hashtag road to 300 followers. Maybe that 300 can be you.
Ooh, it means a lot to him, folks. Help him out.
And sitting to his left.
That's right. My name is
You're
Christy
right.
Olson, and you guys can follow me at Christy Reports. I'm following George. You should do it too.
Yeah. And what special things do you have planned for the 300th follower?
Well, apparently I'm gonna get an email from Twitter.
You do.
That I say, hey, congratulations on getting your 300th follower.
To know who that person is.
I didn't even know that.
We have 10 matches to cover. 4 hours worth of wrestling.
Woo!
We need to jump right in.
Let's do it. Jumped.
There was a pre-show.
No one cares,
with no
'cause there was
matches.
no matches.
With
so.
no matches, so I would imagine none of us watched it. But apparently,
Actually, real quick, before we go on to the actual show itself, I have to say this because I don't know when the next time I'm going to be able to say this is, for anybody that's watching, watch SummerSlam, feel free to log into the network, watch Bayley versus Sasha Banks from NXT Brooklyn, because that is probably one of the best women's matches, maybe if not the best women's matches of all time. I think that match is everything that is right about professional wrestling.
in NXT specifically, in that whole match. That whole match, everything NXT's doing, actually that whole show last night. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, our NXT team is currently they're on location. And they'll be doing an after show sometime this week, covering both that show and the TV taping they did right before that show. Please watch that. They're going to have exclusive content on this channel from their whole weekend, including, I heard they got a plea from all the Tough Enough finalists.
Oh, that is very juicy.
I hope I didn't misread a tweet. I feel like they got time with all 4 Tough Enough finalists, and that should be up hopefully before Tuesday, or what's the point?
All right.
So, that's... But as we all know, that does not happen. What does happen is we get a 12-minute match with Randy Orton and Sheamus. I enjoyed this match. They have a great match. These two obviously have a lot of chemistry because they work together all the time.
I'd agree. I thought initially we heard some crowd chants. By the way, Brooklyn, I mean, obviously,
yes,
a lot of them migrated from the MSG crowd, which, by the way, they're going back to MSG for finally we get to see something, whether it's a pay-per-view or a TV show, but an network special. But I heard a lot of like a how you doing chants, and I think started chanting Olay for Jericho or Sami Zayn. And I was like, oh my god, this reminds me of the match from the day after Mania 29 that the crowd just went like everywhere for it. They saw the wave, you heard chants from RVD that he wasn't even back with the company yet.
That was the Mike Chioda chant.
Yeah, the JBL, and then you hear Michael Cole. If they chant for me, I'm oh my god, they're chanting for me. It was I love watching that match for the crowd alone. But yeah, I thought that was gonna happen until you feel again. And just maybe too much. Let's sit him down.
Abdul's gonna sit.
Yeah, it was a good match. Obviously, the crowd got right into it, and I remember I had a friend join me for SummerSlam today, and she asked me, who's your favorite wrestler? And I was like,
oh my god, he's trying to make you all think that like, ooh, who's this girl he's talking to? Just tell everybody who it was.
Well, I don't want to name drop people.
He wants them to think it was Eva Marie.
Okay. Well, it wasn't Eva Marie. It was another lady wrestler.
It was former Tough Enough contestant Daria Baronato.
There we go. Boom, boom. Name drop.
And she asked me.
I just want to point out this is the first time I've ever seen a forced name drop.
That's right.
She was asking,
tell him, George. Tell him, George.
She was asking, like, who your favorite wrestler is. I'm like, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Brian's hurt. Punk is gone, obviously. Taker's too old. I think it's Randy Orton, and then you just going back to like old Randy Orton matches, and even currently, everything he does just makes sense. There's no wasted motion, and of course, there's nothing different in this match. Very physical. I liked it. I picked Sheamus just because Randy Orton won the last one, so rightfully so. I picked Sheamus.
And speaking of this crowd, a lot of "you look stupid" chants as usual.
Yeah.
So much so that Sheamus has to grab the microphone and pretty much say he doesn't look stupid.
But you look stupid, and you look stupid.
Which is something someone who looks stupid would say.
Yes.
What do you think about the match, Christy?
Well, I mean, he had to get his little moment in there on the mic. I get scared when I disagree with you guys.
No, go for it, please.
Because I feel that most of our audience probably agrees with you guys. So I don't know. I was kind of thinking they seemed a little bored with it. So I was a little teeny bored with it at first. It got good, but we've just seen it so many times, and I thought Orton was gonna take it though.
I can hear the people just slamming their keyboards right
now. I know.
What are you playing?
I wasn't madly in love with this one, but there were several after this that I did enjoy greatly.
Those people weren't that into this match.
Okay, good.
I'm speaking as someone who wasn't incredibly looking forward to this match.
Yeah.
I was like, they told a decent story in 12 minutes. Mm-hmm. I suspended my disbelief because I genuinely didn't know who was going to win. And they told a decent story, which was just that Sheamus has changed and Randy Orton was very annoyed. Was very annoyed with that change or annoyed with where he is on the card. I don't know.
We did see a pretty cool RKO with Sheamus bouncing into the ring.
Yes.
So maybe fourth or fifth RKO, best RKO this year so far.
Oh, okay.
This year.
Well, Orton did seem to get like super fired up after he started bleeding.
Yep.
I think that's all it takes for these guys.
Yeah, Orton, first blood of the night, first match.
Can't be mad at that.
And Sheamus gets him in the face with two brogue kicks. And Sheamus gets a 1-2-3. Sheamus is over. I don't think that's what I had predicted. And I was off to a bad start.
You and me both, Steve.
And then we get one of my favorite matches of the night.
Yes.
And that's the WWE Tag Team Championship, The New Day versus the Los Matadors, versus the Lucha Dragons, versus the Primetime Players, who are the defending champions.
Oh, this was surprisingly good, right?
I'm all about this.
Yeah.
Just a fatal 4-way Tag Team Championship match that midway through, I genuinely stopped caring who would win because I was just having such a good time.
It brings me back to the first fatal 4-way match from 1996 featuring the tag team titles, featuring the Smoking Guns, Body Adonis, the Godwins, and oh man, I forgot the last team. Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Don't bring it up if you're not gonna.
No, I had it on the top of my mind. I know it wasn't Owen and Bulldog because Owen faced Sid and Bulldog faced Savio Vega. Actually, it was the other way around. Anyway, either way, this match is good. But I love New Day before the match.
Yes.
They come out and they just completely. I mean, obviously, Brooklyn being a typically heelish crowd who loves the heels, obviously they were all about that New Day. Even the certain reason why we played the song in the beginning, because we heard a different rendition. Instead of New York, we heard New Day, which by the way, dude, they got some good voices.
Oh yeah.
They were initially, this gimmick was initially they were all like gospel preacher, and part of that is singing, so they all probably had that gene in them to go forward.
Yeah, I was impressed with Kofi's
had that skill in them moving forward. One of the bigger stories about this match you're getting to is that at this crowd, New Day were cheered like they were good guys. And what's weird about their characters is their characters don't inherently do anything bad.
I mean,
other than think that they're good when nobody people like them because they act so squeaky clean, and that's why people don't like them. So it's this weird.
Nothing matters when it's in Brooklyn or MSG or Canada.
But this is kind
England.
of like this weird inception loop that they're actually acting like faces, but people don't like them because they're acting like faces. So they're heels. But in New York, the heels are faces, so they're actually just if you were to just play this match out of context with this crowd reaction, you would think New Day were the most over faces in the world.
I don't even think it's about that. I think that MSG, or obviously Brooklyn now, is a very smart crowd in terms of they appreciate entertainment and they appreciate hard work. Where they see that this is a great gimmick in actuality, so they're going to cheer for that, regardless of their heel or faces. I just think they just enjoy the gimmick, and obviously they are extremely entertaining.
Yep. This is... Someone did a quick stump, George. How many times has Kofi been tag team champion? I try to avoid these list questions, but if you can't give a weird...
That seems like an easy one.
It's a lot.
I mean, twice with the New Day, one with R-Truth, one with Evan Bourne, one with CM Punk. It's got to be more than 5.
It has to be 10 or 15.
It's not 10 or 15. That's way too much.
But we're not gonna sit there.
I gotta think about it. It's one of those things.
We'll keep you posted.
If I think about it, I'll know it. But
yeah.
Well, they were trying to pin each other at the beginning of this match, which was kind of entertaining, and sort of took it off to not a great start. I was like, oh, it's just going to be one of those kind of matches where they do silliness and then it's over. But silliness aside, and then great match afterward.
Yeah.
Is it 5?
But think
One
if
with
they would
Punk,
have
two
pinned
with
each
New
other,
Day.
how much that would screw up all your encyclopedia stuff.
R-Truth. R-Truth.
Right?
R-Truth, Evan Bourne, 2 with New Day, and CM Punk. He's been Intercontinental
saying
Champion
5,
in the
y'all.
U.S. a lot.
I'll check your work later. Moving on, we get 2 dudes who are accompanied to the ring by 2 women. The 2 women of whom I think we're more interested in seeing in a match.
Yes.
Regardless of
120%.
regardless
yes.
of whether that match would be better than what we watched. We have
Again,
Dolph Ziggler
yes.
with Lana versus Rusev with Summer Rae. Lana in full 80s denim.
Yes, she looked all kinds of LA.
She did look all kinds of LA. She looked...
I loved it. She was rocking those new extensions that she got from LA that she keeps Instagramming about.
My question about Lana is, when does she ditch the accent? Or does she never ditch the accent?
I give it a few months.
I think we'll know like what the next thing is after this. Then like wherever this goes from right here is where Lana's gonna end up for a while.
I say when she joins the cast of Total Divas, by the time that first episode airs, she'll have the accent gone.
Okay, they're shooting the second half of the current season right now. And by my calculations, I mean, they got to be done shooting fairly soon. So she's either got to get in on it, which I'm guessing is going to happen this season. Yeah, so that could be a while.
And Emmanuel Dominguez did not stump George. It's 5.
Oh, nice. Good job.
Yes.
And thank you to you, Emmanuel.
Winning!
Winning.
Is that still a thing?
No.
Okay.
It's twinning now, and you don't have a twin, so don't worry about it.
I'm not even going to bother
Anyway.
deciphering what that word is.
Back to Sparkle Ray and Lana.
Summer Rae in the sparkles.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't like it.
I think I just expect her to look like she costs like 99 cents. So when she comes out in like red sparkles, you're just like, okay, Summer Rae does red sparkles because that's what she does.
Ditto. But Lana looked good.
Lana looked great. This match was about what I expected.
I'm very upset at the finish, though.
11 minutes, 50 seconds. I did want a conclusive finish.
That just builds toward the mixed tag match next month.
I guess
I'm ready for this to be over.
No, because this is another 2 months.
You think so?
Because you have the mixed tag match, then you have the singles match, or then you have one night where you have 2 singles match. One of them winds up with a mid card belt like the IC or the US Championship, and then they have reignited reason to fight each other. Like this was the beginning.
Oh, you even put same dumb, ish.
Yeah, same
not
dumb
over.
stuff, and now it's not over.
Oh, that's his stuff. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I just
thought
that's
that's
stuff.
S-H-I.
No.
That looks like a T.
No, I don't. No, it does, but I don't write naughty words. Sometimes I say them. But yes, no, everybody knows I'm not like a huge fan of what's going on between Lana and Summer right now. The slapping around with the panties out. I need them to get to the match and do some moves and join the Divas Revolution and revolt. And then I will be happy. But Ziggler held his own in this one.
Ziggler always looks great.
But
I also thought Lana was her most interesting self when she was paired with Rusev. The Lana that's paired with Ziggler is just not as strong a character as she can be, as we've seen she can be. That, like, maybe she could have been paired with Ziggler, and then when Ziggler went away, paired with another guy, or just walked around and managed guys that she wasn't making out with, and just being the strong, independent, management-minded woman in the WWE.
I would love that.
That, like, if she brought Zack Ryder out for a John Cena Open Challenge. But, like, I've seen good things in the Zack Ryder, and I think he can face the John Cena. I'm doing okay on that as well.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And, like, I would like that more than what we've had, but we have to deal with what we have, which is she's paired with Dolph because she loves Dolph. And if we ever want to
pick who you love, Steve.
I know. Well, you can. You can when you're writing it.
You can in the WWE.
But we get a double count out, which is the easiest way to further this story exactly how they want to further it, which is we get a mixed tag match.
Which is not at all. It's in the same exact
We get a mixed tag
place.
match. We get another Rusev Dolph Ziggler match. We get another we get a Summer Rae Lana match, and that's a pretty slow burn. That's what we're waiting on. That's what we're eventually gonna get. And now we get to the special guest of the evening. Stephen Amell and Neville are going against Stardust and King Wade Barrett, who looks better than ever as King. This match, I enjoyed this match. It was a fun tag match. Stephen Amell brings a lot of good attention, and he's clearly athletic. And we were talking in the green room earlier that there was something off about Stephen Amell, and then James, one of our engineers here, brought it up, is that physically he was fine, but he was not believable. He's not believable as a guy in a fight.
Yeah.
His hands were never up. He was just jumping over like even his first intro where he jumps over the top, he jumps onto the top rope, over, and then gets right in Stardust's face. In a world where that guy can punch you immediately.
In a world.
In a world.
In a universe.
Where Stardust can just punch you immediately. You would never get that close.
Right.
Or you would get that close and you would put your hands up and then you do some type of offensive action immediately. And I think that's where this fell short. That says, I want Stephen Amell to come back. He's one of the best celebrity guests in a match they've had. Barring, like...
Floyd Mayweather. I thought Floyd Mayweather was
Floyd
amazing.
Mayweather was actually really good. He took like a couple bumps. He trained for a while.
Yeah.
He took chops. He like Floyd Mayweather's up there too. That just somebody who's that physical and sticks with it. And I do think this is ultimately elevating Barrett and definitely elevating Stardust.
Although I love Stardust's outfit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally get more arm. It's separating him more from Goldust, which Goldust was this full-on body.
I just thought it was a tribute to Dusty Rhodes, to be honest with you. That's why I
That
loved
too.
it.
Yeah.
That too, but it's also the further he goes, the more he should be his own character and separate from Goldust.
I wouldn't be surprised if Stardust is done in like 2-3 months anyways.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think he's in it to win it on this one. Because we still have the Cody chance. I want that Goldust Stardust match. Mm-hmm. We had one.
Yeah, what happened to that?
We had one and they just kind of dropped it. That's always going to be on the table for them. We probably have to wait a while.
I think Goldust is done though.
I don't think he's done wrestling. I think they're done putting him on TV for a while.
I think he's done.
Yep.
Either way, that was a good one.
Drew Sizen in the chat saying Amell needed different ring gear. Everyone looked like characters and he was an average Joe. I'd buy that.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't too excited about this match because I'm not gonna lie to you. Stephen Amell, like I didn't know who he was until he started doing stuff with wrestling.
Watch Arrow. Arrow's
Well, I know he's on Arrow.
Arrow is-
I have no desire to watch Arrow at all. Like I'm not gonna watch it now. It's not making me watch it. You know, still have no desire to watch it. So, but my point was like I wasn't really that much looking forward to it. It was more so of a Neville match that I wanted to see at SummerSlam, and kudos to him because obviously Neville and I never bet against a celebrity at a pay-per-view.
No.
We know that.
So obviously it was a good chance to show Neville and what he can do.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I like that our complaints about Amell are not that he was a bad wrestler.
Yeah.
You
and
know,
that's
so I'll take it.
Usually in this situation, we're complaining about why did they let Jay Leno pin somebody and he doesn't know how to pin somebody. Why did they let Dennis Rodman go in there and just jump over people?
Rodman was good.
Rodman's a bad example.
All right, George liked it.
But you know what I mean? Like, usually when a non-wrestler comes into this world, the complaint is like, they looked awful and they got to win. Mm-hmm. Whereas Stephen Amell didn't get the pin.
How dare you talk about Maria Menounos like that? She is the executive producer of AfterBuzz TV.
I was not speaking of Maria Menounos like that, because Maria Menounos is...
She represented.
Yeah, I mean, she's actually also, in addition to Floyd and whoever, she was actually one of the ones that actually did really good. And I'm not just saying that for obvious reasons. It's because, and like Maria Menounos, like Stephen Amell, is that they're fans. And the last thing that they want to do is look bad at something that they're truly a fan of.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it came down to. Amell cared. Menounos cared. Even Floyd, I know he was a big wrestling fan. He cared, as opposed to just bringing these guys in just for the sake of, Jay Leno or whoever,
Just for the sake of the name. Mm-hmm. Similar to Jon Stewart, who we didn't even get to. We went right into the first match. Jon Stewart is the host of the SummerSlam pay-per-view, which, by the way, if you go to change.org, there's also a petition to make Jon Stewart the host/moderator of a presidential debate. And I would love...
I would rather see him there than at another WWE event.
I would love nothing more than for Jon Stewart to be the only man to both moderate a presidential debate and host a wrestling event.
Yes!
I want him to be both. That's what I want. Jon Stewart was great. Speaking of people just getting in the ring, and to get back to this match, Stephen Amell doesn't get the pin. Adrian Neville goes over King Barrett. Yes, he has a first name. His name's Adrian. I know once you go to the main roster, they take your first name away for some reason. His name is Adrian Neville.
Well, to be fair, Adrian isn't the best first name to begin with, so... And it's not his real name, so let's just get rid of that.
And now we're to the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship, which
Who'd
is
you pick in this match?
In which one?
The triple threat Intercontinental.
Well, it was really hard, but I went with my guy Ryback.
I'm just making sure. I mean, I picked him too, to be honest with you.
Because I got everybody into it now.
Before we get into the match and Christy's love of Ryback and the secret, I do have a Stump George question. This Stump George question is from Chris Mingy, a longtime tweeter at us.
Oh, hey,
and
Chris.
with us. His initial question was going to be how many years has the Intercontinental Championship been defended at a SummerSlam, and then Michael Cole talked about that during this match. So we've adapted this question to be this. Who is the only person to have
Ultimate
won...
Warrior.
That's no fair. That's
what happened?
It's really no fair, George Hermoza.
Is that right? Am I right?
What just happened here?
Who is the only person to have won the Intercontinental Championship on a SummerSlam twice?
Oh yeah, Ultimate Warrior was right.
Hashtag Stump
You know
George.
what? I invite people to stop wasting their time trying to stump this guy because it's not going to happen.
It was the first two SummerSlams. Come on, Chris.
But before the man even gets the whole
Seriously.
question out, I mean, come on.
I expect better than that. In fact, the title changed hands on the first 5 SummerSlams.
This guy. I feel like you knew. I feel like you were prepared with this one.
It wasn't.
But
as soon as you said who's the first, I'm like, I don't know. It's probably a Warrior.
Worth mentioning hashtag Stump George. If you have a question like that, and by like that I mean one that just has a singular answer that doesn't require a lot of. He's either going to know.
We don't
want to
have to discuss it.
No, it's like I'll either know it or I have to literally sit there and just start thinking in my head. Let's see, Kofi Kingston team with CM Punk.
But like I'd rather. But that's what I'm saying. When you send me questions, I would like them to be crafted in that way that there's one answer, and we're either going to Stump George, or he's going to know it before I finish the question, which will probably be the case. But if you do have a hashtag Stump George question, you can follow me at Steve Kauffman, KAUFMANN. Tweet at me, I'll follow you. We'll direct message so George doesn't know, and I'll put him on the spot.
Not like it matters.
Either here or on the Tough Enough After Show.
Which is over, by the way, after like this Tuesday.
Or when we sub in on SmackDown or Saturday Morning Slam or any of the shows we do here.
Livewire. Can't wait for that to come back.
Now, back to the match.
It's a pathetic woohoo.
Ryback.
Oh yeah, woohoo to that! That's what we're talking about.
See, hear that, and then decent video package. Ryback, Big Show, The Miz. A lot of people thought The Miz was going to come away with this.
I wasn't. I thought Ryback was going to win.
I could have seen storyline, and I would never bet against my guy Ryback, but I could have seen a storyline thing where they were setting up a match between Ryback and The Miz, another title match for maybe Monday to promote the Tough Enough finale. Would be the only way I could have seen that happening.
That's a good one.
But it didn't happen.
Both Ryback and The Miz Tough Enough finalists back in 04 for the $1 Million Tough Enough.
Yes.
Neither of them won. So it'd be a good, nice little tie-in.
Also worth mentioning, when they all came out to the ring, I made a joke where we were. That was, this match isn't going to break 10 minutes. Just because of how where it felt on the card, it felt like one of those, not a dump the trash match, but a get out there, have a great time.
If there was no Revolution, this is where the Divas would have been? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. But get out there, get your stuff in, tell your story, but
hurry it up.
We'd prefer the match never happened. Just for time. We would love to have this match.
Just to reiterate, we wanted this one to happen at the last pay-per-view, so if you guys could just get in there, hurry up.
Yeah, we were hoping we were moving forward.
We're a little behind, so just,
That said,
I heard that it was supposed to be Miz in the spot of Wade Barrett in that tag team match initially.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
That would made more sense, yeah.
Although I like Barrett in that spot better because they worked with it, but Miz would have made more. He would have been able to talk his way through it in a different way Stardust does. How much do you, Christy, because you weren't in the room when we did the math, how long do you think this match ran?
It was short, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 8 minutes, 17 seconds.
You are being very generous.
Oh, it wasn't even that much?
The match before it, the Stephen Amell match, was 7 minutes, 36 seconds. This match
I didn't realize that one was that short.
5 minutes, 34 seconds.
Oh, my goodness.
To put that in the context, it took The Undertaker that long to walk to the
ring. You know
ring.
what it is? After Ryback pulls his thing down and I get full chest, the world just goes a little blurry and I lose all track of time.
Five becomes 8. I can understand that. Not necessarily with Ryback,
excuse.
but I get that way with Charlotte or Becky or Paige or Sasha or Bailey or Blue Pants.
Well, in that case, I'm going to start a change.org petition to get Ryback more time on the next pay-per-view.
Let's do that. That said, with the 5 minutes these guys got, I love this match.
Yeah.
It's like they had a 10-minute match that we just didn't see, and they came out and gave us the last 5 minutes of a 10-minute match. They were going for finishers. They were just doing three-way everything, and then we just get this awesome match. I say that because The Miz was involved, obviously. It was just this really awesome match.
Well, yeah, and this is what I want. I know people get frustrated with me when I'm like, oh, things went to a slow start or it was a little boring. It's like, that's what I want to see. Hit, boom, boom, boom. People get beat up and people kicking out of stuff, and then there's something going on over here, and then somebody's over there. Yay!
But I want that intensity and level of storytelling when 3 amazing athletes get 10 minutes to tell that story instead of 5.5. That said, Big Show hits Miz with the knockout punch. Ryback knocks Big Show over the top rope and out to the floor. He turns around, covers Miz. 1, 2, 3. Ryback wins. He retains.
Boom. He not losing that title anytime soon, people.
And
knocking on wood.
But it seemed they do it right.
Those are bricks.
I know those bricks made a very hollow knocking noise. Didn't
I don't
they?
know what those are.
Weird.
Really, those are bricky bricks. Is what those are. They made a brick sound. They made a brick sound. I like that this was really about Ryback and Big Show, and Miz just talked his way into it, and that's really been the whole story, and that's the story they told. That ultimately Miz is an afterthought to 2 dudes who went to a double count on SmackDown last week. Those 2 dudes, that match. Hopefully we get that match next week, and then creative can stick with one through line with the Big Show. Whether he's face or heel or whatever you have for him, just stick with that.
Pick one,
stick with it, and then move forward. And if the retirement talk is true, let him get a nice big swan song leading to a huge Mania match. Could be with Ryback. Could be with Ryback.
Ryback, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could be with
3 good choices.
I say they bring back Skip Sheffield. Yep. What do you do?
Yes.
Drew Sisson says the show was supposed to be 4 hours. They didn't deliver. I want my money back. LOL. So you
That is true. We were a good 20 late, right?
But if it was 4 hours out of however many hours you buy for a month at $9.99, I think they're only giving you 20 cents back. I think if you called with that logic, it
was done at like 20 minutes beforehand.
10 or
Did you not
15.
notice, George?
It was like 10 or
I don't even know
15.
I was-
what you guys were talking about. Like 20 cents.
I was in the bathroom putting my
Sorry.
makeup on by quarter 2.
Sorry, that was some complicated math there. We're just gonna. I stepped too far with the math. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. This is the tag match. That was almost the 3-on-3 match that we've all wanted since there was a Shield and a Wyatts. And I know Elimination Chamber, we received that match.
Oh, that's right.
Also,
on a Raw from Chicago.
yes.
Like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. And they wrestled again.
Yeah. Okay, so we
I don't know,
did,
house shows all over the place.
but we did get. Okay, it's not like we never got that match. We didn't get enough of that program because that would have been a 3, 4, 5 month thing. Those two against each other.
I do remember when that first off, when that first initial interaction happened at that Monday Night Raw from England, and that place went just crazy bananas. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I really had flashbacks, not that I was even around back then, but flashbacks to like Freebirds Von Erichsen, where like, I feel like these guys can just tear the house down for the next 2 years. You know, and then come Elimination Chamber and that phenomenal moment where they faced off for the first time and everybody chanting, "This is awesome," before they even did anything. And yeah, I was like, dude, this is gonna be the next. They're made for the next year. But then Seth Rollins had to be Plan B, and then so selfish, he sold out.
Seth
But
Rollins
Seth
had
Rollins
to
said he
just
bought
have
in.
huge career aspirations. Oh,
That
guy. Bray Wyatt out first with Luke Harper. Luke Harper didn't get a separate entrance, if I'm not mistaken.
Shouldn't have one.
Bray Wyatt wearing horns.
I don't know, Maleficent.
That was a fun
horns?
surprise.
That was fun. Good for
Barely
him.
see it though.
It's a big show.
Switching it up a
But
little
I don't
bit.
get it because the whole thing about wrestling is a visual. So why have a visual there when you can barely even see it?
It's noticeable, necessary. Those who aren't paying attention to the intros aren't going to pay attention to the intros. It's there. I get it.
But I do like the fact that they are treating this like a second WrestleMania, where a lot of people had some new tights tonight.
Yeah, there was some new gear all around.
New gear everywhere.
Yeah.
Most people had new gear.
Not to be confused with New Day.
No, the New Day.
Who also had new gear.
because it's some new gear. That's fine.
Still waiting for New Day socks.
New Day. I didn't make my New Day socks joke today. I usually make the New Day socks joke,
Oh,
but nobody was chanting New Day socks. That's why I didn't. This match got.
I should have New Day Pop Rocks.
That would also work. But
But
we
it's
are
New Day
marketing
Rocks.
geniuses here. You just don't know.
The biggest marketing failure that I think they've ever had was, how do you not sell gummy worms when Boogeyman was around?
ooh, that sounds delicious.
Listen to the man.
Boogeyman gummy worms.
This was 10 minutes 56 seconds. Wonderful tag match. Tells that story. My only issue is just Reigns and Ambrose over Wyatt and Harper. Completely clean. Because there's a lot of speculation with this match that there's going to be a third. It's going to be Leo Kruger. He's going to be the third Wyatt member. He's going to get over. He's going to help them get over on the two remaining members of the Shield, and then we can get a schmaz with a Dean Ambrose turn the next night.
See, I never thought
That
that.
didn't happen.
Everybody's saying like, oh, somebody should have turned. No, I don't think anybody should have turned. Why? Can't just guys be bros, you know?
Well, here was my thing about a Dean Ambrose turn.
Can we just take a second for that, please? Nice.
That's actually
Not every, but I'm saying like, not just because two guys are friends, it doesn't have to always be like, oh, it's leading up to a turn. It's like, hey, people would say it's predictable then. Oh, well, obviously it's predictable, so are you going to give them credit when they don't when that doesn't happen?
Here's what I think with Dean Ambrose turn. I also thought the Wyatts would win, much like most of us.
I thought the Whites would win too.
Much like most of us, only because with a you leave it open for a Dean Ambrose turn, but a Dean Ambrose turn to me, because his character is so well developed. A Dean Ambrose turn to me would be tomorrow night. The Wyatts would win tonight, which they didn't. Tomorrow night, Dean Ambrose comes out with Roman Reigns and say, "Listen, buddy, we lost because I don't think you have it. You're still my boy. We're still gonna have beers after, but
you got to buy him this time.
we need to have a match. We need to have a match, and some of the fans might not like that. Although that would be really difficult to sell because most of the fans still aren't sold on Roman Reigns. But they might be. But we did not get a third Wyatt member. as we all thought we would.
I didn't think that either. I think they're just waiting for Eric Rowan to come back.
Well, Adam Rose is doing the Kruger thing for sure, right?
No, probably not. I mean, he's doing a thing with what's his face? I know it's not Brad Maddox anymore. Joshua something.
Whatever Brad Maddox's name is now. That's right.
Joshua something. I mean, they tweeted or Instagram or whatever tweeted a picture together. So I feel like they're doing
after
something.
E60, I would assume Leo Kruger isn't dead. Like I would assume Leo Kruger is gonna happen. By the way, is it gone?
But I thought the whole thing was to show that Leo Kruger wasn't a marketable or sellable gimmick.
But it
yeah, it'd be cool for like the diehards, you know. But overall, the whole point of that thing was like, hey, this isn't working, so let's do this. So why would they bring back something that they openly said this isn't working?
Fair enough.
I mean, I would like to see it because I've never seen that character on an actual TV show. You know, obviously that was before NXT was on the network. So I'm intrigued personally, but overall, I mean, like I said, they just practically said, Leo Kruger isn't working. Come up with something else. But I just don't see it coming back. I think obviously with the internet, it's a lot easy to tease people with it.
Yeah.
Or in general, not just him, but everybody in general. It's just easier to tease and get people talking about it. But
Well,
I don't see
I
it
want to
coming
know
back.
what they are doing with him then.
Me too.
Yeah.
I would like to see.
If anything, they
That
should
guy.
do. If anything, and I think you would love this, they should do something where it's like who got Rosa Mendes pregnant? Is it Adam Rose who was last seen with Rosa Mendes?
I would love that.
That would be not PG at all. That's what that would be. I can't think of a PG way to present
A
that.
little old school.
Roman is sleeping chant. Middle of the match.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
We're in Brooklyn. These things happen. And that's a reference to the Royal Rumble in Philadelphia where I was at, that many would consider a match that Roman Reigns won, but he came in around 15th and slept, was what many of his critics said, in the ring until it came time for him to have him and Rusev and the Authority, and then The Rock would come out and all that thing, that like versus the year prior where he worked the whole way. And I found that just a little nugget I enjoyed from this match. Not the why it's over. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, those guys go over. It was 10 minutes, 56 seconds. So 2 Intercontinental Championship matches. An IC title match is now a unit of measurement on this panel. This match was 2 of them. And now we see, well, before that match, I didn't get to talk about it, but Jon Stewart and Paul Heyman. Was anyone else just so excited about Jon Stewart getting to cut a promo on Paul Heyman?
I just like Heyman's facial reactions.
I feel like I was alone. All right. There's a little video of you feel like Googling it on YouTube. If you feel like finding it on YouTube, where Jon Stewart went on a show on CNN called Hardball. And he was promoting a book, and we later find out that he hadn't had breakfast or lunch, and it was 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And he was just hungry and hangry and just ornery and always hated this show. And he came on this show and pretty much in 1 or 2 paragraphs tore the whole show down. And by tore the whole show down, I mean tore down the premise of the show. Of just no, you're...
I want to go on other people's after shows and do that.
You probably could, if you would like to.
And I want to watch.
Send me the link. But Jon Stewart has that in him. So you have a guy that has that ability to really talk from the heart. And here he is with Paul Heyman, who's another guy who's really good at, although sometimes he uses the heart to just completely bold-faced lie, and that's part of his deal, another guy who can talk from the heart, and that's Paul Heyman. And he cuts this very heartfelt promo about Brock Lesnar defeated the Streak. That regular guy who paid money to watch WrestleMania didn't want that to happen. They wanted that perfection. And then he talked about Joe DiMaggio's streak. And nobody remembers who beat Joe DiMaggio's streak. They remember Joe DiMaggio.
How do they determine that? The pitcher? Or pitchers? Or the team?
I wasn't diving too far into this.
No, but I just first thing I thought, I was like, well, how do you determine
Seems unnecessary.
That? Would it be the team?
But you know what I mean? You remember Joe DiMaggio, you remember Mickey Mantle, you remember people at that time. You don't remember those 1 or 2 times where they had a dust-up where they weren't their best.
I mean, and I have to respectfully disagree with Jon Stewart. everybody's going to remember Brock Lesnar beating Undertaker's streak, especially the guy in the front row with his eyes bulging out of his eyes.
Who has a whole persona based on it. But his promo, and what I enjoyed about it, was he was saying, but then why did you just dig that knife into everyone you already hurt? Or your client hurt? And like, it was just this really heartfelt promo that kind of foreshadows what we're getting later on, because he's walking around this place and feeling how he feels. Also, we got the backstage segment where Undertaker was presumably walking around backstage, and Smoke follows the Undertaker.
Yeah.
That's canon now. Smoke follows the Undertaker. Allegedly, druids travel on the bus. And that's canon for the Undertaker. But we're moving on to the next match, which is
The WWE title for title.
Title versus title. Meaning Cesaro Kevin Owens is higher, and the Divas Revolution are higher on the card than John Cena. Love it.
And you know who else loves it? John Cena, because he is a good guy and that's his girl, and he's all about giving everybody else the opportunity, so he's cool with it.
That's this whole U.S. title run for John Cena, and hopefully one day we'll give him the credit that it's due.
I already give him the credit already. I honestly, and it's correct for a whole show altogether, I can honestly give a good case on why he should be in the top 10 of all time.
And this is part of it, that at the end of his career, I'm sure he has another 3 to 5 years, but at the end of his like active 300-day-a-year career, he takes a mid-card belt, elevates it to this level, and faces everyone who would be on that would be on the level of that mid-card belt, and elevate those people, including someone who was in essentially developmental, and then gives that person a clean win. That's John Cena. John Cena, pretty much since WrestleMania, since beating Rusev at WrestleMania, has wanted to do nothing more than elevate the younger people in the business that he's in. And that includes Seth Rollins, who, he says it in a promo, but it's very true, is incredibly untested as a champion. Because since WrestleMania, it's been Dean Ambrose. It's been... I should have this information ready if I'm going to rant on it.
Randy Orton.
Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton...
Roman Reigns,
and
Brock
then
Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar, who he lost to, and then it took the Undertaker turning the lights out for him to not physically lose his belt.
Neville.
So he's literally untested. He's literally untested, and John Cena, as a man, is doing everything he can to elevate Seth Rollins.
Elevating the belt as well.
Mm-hmm.
Elevating the belt.
Although I do have one thing, I think that it would have been really cool if just at some point, open challenge, if Randy Orton came out too. Like he's, I think, at that top star level as well. So for these two guys to go all out for this U.S. belt, it makes the U.S. belt look that much better.
Yes. This match did 19 minutes, 27 seconds. They had a lot of... we have to talk about it. Seth Rollins came out in... He pretty much... his normal ring attire, except it was white instead of black, leading many, many people on the internet to allude to him looking like the White Ranger.
You really couldn't make any other kind of comparison. He was the White Ranger.
Some people said Mordecai, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Mordecai from way back when?
Yeah.
He was going to be Undertaker's next feud. That didn't work out, and then he was Kevin Thorne in ECW on Sci-Fi. Another failed thing, ECW on Sci-Fi. But you have to bring it up. I've long made this joke about Seth Rollins' attire since he turned to the Authority, which is if you showed his picture to me when I was 15 and said, that's what everyone in 2015 is going to wear, I'd be like, I get it.
Yeah. Looks about right.
Futuristic. I like it.
Yeah.
Do we have robot overlords too? They're the one making us wear all that stuff? But that's how I feel. This match was so much fun.
It was a good one.
Because
This was probably the match I was probably looking forward to the second most.
Okay.
Probably.
And definitely delivered. I mean, again, John Cena has been the MVP of 2015. Match after match after match after match, just top notch from start to finish, and this is no different.
Keep in mind, this is 2/3 of a very early match of the year candidate this year from which is John Cena, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. So it's only 2/3 of that. Like, I hope that match doesn't get lost in the shuffle when we start doing our version of the Slammies.
To me, it didn't get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, I'm thinking, like, when he did that second Phoenix Splash that he missed, I was thinking, man, that Rumble match, I think that's the match where they said Seth Rollins is our guy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And when that night was over, we're like, oh my God, like, we have Roman and we have Seth Rollins, and I think Seth Rollins is going to be our guy.
And speaking of this Brooklyn crowd, we do have to talk about that too. And John Cena said this on Stone Cold Podcast a long time ago, which is people talk a lot about John Cena, whether they like him or hate him, and how that relates to the other guy. Let's say John Cena, and at the time his example was like Cesaro. Let's say I'm in the ring with Cesaro.
We said that to Seth Rollins like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and then what I'm saying is he brought this up again, and it was something so eloquent he said years ago, which was, if I'm in the ring with you, and half the crowd is chanting Cena sucks, and half the crowd is saying let's go Cena, you are failing. That's your problem as my opponent. Because they all care about me in either way, and none of them care about you. I bring it up because John Cena said this to Seth Rollins last Monday night. That half this arena is chanting for me, half of this arena is chanting against me. None of this arena cares about you. And that's your problem that you need to face. And I love that part of the story, that he needs to just elevate this thing he does. He's just this consummate professional, and he doesn't, similar to how Rusev held the U.S. title, and he just didn't like that Rusev was doing that. No, you don't represent my country, you don't represent my business, you don't represent my job. And I will prove it to you. And that's John Cena's stance, where Seth Rollins' stance is, I don't care, I would like all the things.
Have this knee in the face.
Have this knee in the face, I would like all the things. And these guys have a classic match. So we have a Cena sucks chant, because we're in Brooklyn. We also have a Cena sucks chant in the theme of New Day sucks. And we get Seth Rollins blockbuster, and John Cena gets up. I don't
know why you're acting like you're surprised.
I had one pet peeve.
You didn't like that, Steve?
I had one pet peeve in this whole match, and it was a blockbuster. A man goes to the top rope, grabs you by the neck, and throws you and whips you to the ground.
It looked so brutal.
And John Cena got right up. Protect yourselves on these things. Protect your moves,
Steve
guys.
Austin's gonna have a little chat with him about that one.
Well, I'll tell you what. You're treating that like a DDT. You guys treating DDT bad, too. I'm gonna go down the road.
But what you were saying earlier too, like I did hear a very loud "Let's go Rollins" as well. So
yeah.
kudos to Rollins
for
getting
Rollins,
that reaction as well.
For getting any reaction, because that's his job. They have to care about both of you. And this match was great. I try not to go move to move on this show, because then we'll be here all night. And you clearly watched it, so we're just gonna. What are some of your favorite spots about the match?
Just in general, just the story that they told, the attitude adjustments from Seth Rollins, kind of getting that, and just using Cena's own move, the Phoenix splashes, which always look so beautiful. It's funny, because this is my only beef with that actual move, is Neville does it from the middle rope. Rollins does it from the top rope, and it's like, oh, can only one of you do it, please?
Yeah.
It kind of makes it look less impressive when two people do it, especially when one of them does it from the middle rope. Now who's going to do it? Somebody can do it from like the mat. So I just wish only one person would do that.
It's a special moment people in the chat are talking about. George Hermoza has just hit 300 followers.
Oh, hey!
Says the chat. I should check before I mention things.
Congratulations, George.
What?
That's all you guys.
The road to 400 begins now.
Let me check my phone.
Well, let's just have dinner while we do that.
Oh, thank you, Melanie Dinapoli, for congratulating me. Name all Diva search winners in order.
That's a list question. We'll get to that in a minute.
The road to 400 begins.
Rollins hits a crazy superplex off the rope. Cena rolls through. Blah 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 blah.
No, hold on. Before you go on that, he hits a superplex from the top rope, and he held on to him.
Yeah.
And into like a... Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool move.
And, of course... Flip off the top. Ref is knocked down as Cena nails Rollins with the AA, or as I like to call it, the FU. So now we have a ref bump, a good old-fashioned ref bump, which, if I had to count them, I'd say we've had less than a dozen this year.
Yeah, and I like it.
We're doing a lot of clean finishes, a lot less ref bumps. That said, AA on Rollins, There's no one to count 1, 2, 3. Cena goes to pick Rollins up. Rollins leaps up with a flying knee, the same as the kind that broke Cena's nose. That said, before that, I noticed Cena had to call something out to Rollins, that they seemed a little off as to what they're doing here. That, like, Cena ran out of the ring, came back in, and Rollins had just gotten up, and then Cena kind of grabbed him by the head and said something.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
He kind of called something, and I'm sure it could have been something as simple as, like, the knee to the face, go home thing. Mm-hmm. Like, that's usually the shorthand they'll use, and then we get that knee to the face. And Jon Stewart, our host, potential host of a presidential debate, runs down with a steel chair and then debates for a good 30, 40 seconds over who he's going to hit with that steel chair. Now, I noticed on the pre-show, Jon Stewart interviewed John Cena. Mm-hmm. I have not seen this interview. I would assume, or at least hope, that there's some type of allusion to what just happened in that interview on the pre-show. We also do know tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw, Jon Stewart will be there, because it's in the same building, nobody has to go anywhere, will be there to answer for his actions, which I would desperately like to hear. My hope is it's from the same place where he took down Crossfire or told Paul Heyman that he's a mean guy, that it comes from that place of the heart of, hey, John Cena, I think you're a poser. That's what I want. That's where I want this to come from. I don't want it to be I'm in the authority's pocket. I don't want it to be Seth Rollins and I have been working at this long-standing feud to just play you right here, right now, when the chips were as down as they could possibly be. I want this to be, I measured you, John Cena, and I don't think you add up. I think Seth Rollins is a better man.
Well, whatever the explanation ends up being, can we all agree that Jon Stewart screwed it up a little bit?
Yes.
And gave it away and...
The in-ring of it all.
Yeah.
He seemed to not know where the hard camera was. He seemed... Whereas we saw Stephen Amell, for those basics, was very comfortable in a wrestling ring. Mm-hmm. Jon Stewart, and to his credit, he was the host of The Daily Show and a comedic genius.
We don't expect you to be a wrestler too, John. It's
Probably,
okay.
They may have asked a little much of him in this segment.
Yeah.
To come down, because then he had to, because he overacted it, overexerted it, oversold it, if you will. Mm-hmm. Where he comes down with a chair, I'm going to point to this guy. No, I'm going to point to this guy. No, I'm going to point to this guy.
When we had no reason to think that he would hit John Cena with the chair at that point.
Yeah, like there was no reason to think he would hit John Cena with the chair. So the play would be to come out and like go straight for Seth Rollins and then turn to John Cena. It wasn't as fluid and as we would want it to be. So it seemed a little off-sold. He went straight to John Cena and then to Seth Rollins. And then we're like, well, now we don't trust you where we should. We should just be like, no, you're Jon Stewart. You're going to do this. He hits John Cena, sets a chair under John Cena and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, pedigree 1, 2, 3, and your winner, and for the first time ever, United States and WWE Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins. The man who still looks undeserving and beatable, which is perfect.
Now he has 2!
Yeah, now he has 2 belts, and if memory serves and history serves, he should lose one immediately. Because very few times does this happen, but when it does happen, as in The Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, they drop the lesser one. Almost immediately. That might not happen.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, although this is unprecedented, because usually the person with the lesser belt, the mid-card belt, beats and wins for the bigger belt and holds both of them, and then they vacate the lesser belt. But because the lesser belt went to the heel who's already the world champion, he's probably going to try to hold on to it. And we're going to further a John Cena, Seth Rollins story, hopefully with as little Jon Stewart as possible. He gets to say his piece tomorrow. Hopefully it's from the heart and everything we know to expect from Jon Stewart. And then those two can move forward with the authority.
And then, Jon Stewart, go take your freaking vacation. You have earned it. Go take your vacation.
For real, though.
For real, though.
For real, though.
Real quick. Christy, Ashley Massaro, not Christy Olson, Christy Hemme, Ashley Massaro, Layla, and Eve Torres. Those are the Diva Search winners.
There he is.
Ladies that are still around from the Diva Search, not winners.
No, Layla just retired.
Just clearing our throats. Speaking of divas and the Diva Search, 3-team elimination match. Give divas a chance.
Yeah, none of these girls came from no Diva Search.
Give divas a giant match.
The Bellas, kind of.
Give divas a giant match. Give every single diva at least a spot. Let them do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Give divas close to 2 minutes each diva.
Yes.
This match went 15 minutes, 18 seconds. It's Team PCB, Paige, Charlotte, Becky
Wait.
Lynch.
Can you just back that up and say that one more time, please? How long was this match, Steve?
This match was 15 minutes, 18 seconds. We had a 15-minute Divas match that came after the World Heavyweight Championship match. You're right, this is worth mentioning.
Woo!
What's also worth mentioning is that Kevin Owens and Cesaro happened after that.
Right. Right, so we still have to talk about that.
What world are we living in? But it's Team PCB versus Team Bella versus Team Bad. Team Bad, of course, is Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina. Sasha Banks, who had one of the matches of the year last night in the same exact building. And for that reason, I would recommend letting that team go out first. And that happened.
It did happen, but they displayed some major teamwork before that happened.
They looked the most like a team.
Yeah, very cohesive.
Well, I mean, PCB looked like 3 awesome people who will eventually turn on each other.
Yeah.
For their own gain.
Yeah, Team Bad worked together.
The Team Bella looks like they're both reporting to Nikki, and that will eventually turn, or that won't be proper teamwork because all the glory will be for Nikki, and then the other 2 won't do the work. Team Bad seem in it for each other. That said, they only lasted 6 minutes until they were eliminated. Tamina was pinned after a top rope Bella Buster from Brie Bella. The Bella Buster, that happened.
Yeah. And it was all right.
Although I will say I'm a little disturbed at the little girl holding up the Brie mode sign. Only she knew where that originated from.
Oh, well, man. I know. I always think about that with the Brie mode stuff.
I think they PG'd. I think they PG'd that.
When they put it on the shirt?
They PG'd that pretty hard. That's not what that means anymore.
No. Well, speaking of getting kind of gritty and dirty, I just like whenever Tamina gets in the action with all because the other girls are just also pretty and they're doing everything so pretty, and Tamina's just so like brutal and just raw, and everything that she does just looks like it hurts. I feel like she kind of just elevates the whole thing because she just makes it look like everyone is really getting their butt kicked out there.
So we get the obvious when we have 9 people, the everybody out of the pool spots, I like to call them. 2 people go out.
That's
2 people jump out of those. 2 people jump after those people.
Right.
Those 4 people get up. 2 more people jump after those people, and then it's that and that until we have 8 people on the outside, and Paige.
And Paige just gets to kind of roll over into them.
And technically 7 people on the outside.
Right.
Then someone comes after Paige while she's on the top rope. She beats that person down. Now there's 8 people all on the outside, and then Paige gets to do a flip onto those 8 people. And everybody chants and screams, "This is awesome," and it's wonderful. We also get... That was the Superplex, right? No, that was not the Superplex. Never mind. This match was a load of fun. Everything I would hope for.
What's cool? Nikki Alabama slamming Paige
That
outside the ring.
Brutal.
Awesome.
I think we need to start calling that an Arabella or an Arizona Slammer.
An Arizona Slammer,
Arizona Slammer, because Nikki Bella is from Arizona.
That is true.
And that's worth mentioning.
I do like that.
It's also worth...
I thought they're from San Diego.
No, they're from...
Nikki lives in San Diego now.
They're from
I thought they
Arizona.
I think that's where they were living when they were
they're
trying to do their thing.
They are from Arizona, says Wikipedia right this second. Team PCB goes over Team Bella. Brie Bella was pinned after a pump handle slam from Becky Lynch.
After she screams Brie mode, and then kind of it turns into like Biff mode.
Becky Lynch gets the pin.
Which was a surprise. I thought that this was about bringing Paige back up again.
No, I think... And here's my theory on the Divas, and I won't get too much into it, because we do have 2 more matches to talk about. But I think the key here is that Paige and Charlotte are going to shine. So everyone needs to work to make Becky Lynch shine. Or at least, booking-wise, that's who, at Night of Champions, which, by the way, is a whole 25 days away.
Oh, let the countdown begin.
Which is 3 more days than Nikki Bella's arbitrary
she would have it then.
day, so she'll break that record, and have a match at Night of Champions, where hopefully she
won't
can
break it
lose.
at Night of Champions.
No, she'll break it before Night of Champions.
The week before? I thought it was like
don't quote me
week,
on
the day after.
She will have broken this record by Night of Champions, so she can have a title match at Night of Champions and lose.
Which I think is what's going to happen.
Which is what has been holding up this whole thing. That's my piece. I don't want to get too far. I could talk for hours about
we hear you. We know exactly what you're saying.
what
we agree.
what we can do and not do with the Divas division. Moving on. 14 minutes, 21 seconds. Kevin Owens versus Cesaro. Kevin Owens also working double duty. He lost in a valiant effort in a ladder match against Finn Balor the night prior in the exact same building. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. If you've not watched that match, please watch that match. That's all I have to say about that match. This match was everything we knew it would be. They tore the house down. No, George?
I disagree.
Really?
I was a little let down.
Really?
Not taken away from the great match that it was. I just thought it'd be a little bit better. So it wasn't everything that I expected, because I expected a little bit better. Again, nothing taken away from it was still a great match, but I thought this was going to be like show stealer, like best match of the weekend, best match of the year maybe, but it just wasn't. Like,
then you had the bar a little high.
Exactly. That's what, like, here you have these two guys. A little bit, yeah. Here you have these two guys who we all know can go, and not only they can go, but the fact that they're in these, I guess technically speaking, these semi-main event.
Yes.
So the fact that they're in so high up the card, and I don't know if maybe they were told to maybe not go that hard. Who knows? I don't know. We'll never know the story, I suppose. But again, I was just expecting a little bit.
I don't think you're telling either of those guys to not go hard. Also, Cesaro, brief plug, he's facing both ZZ and Josh this Tuesday night in the Tough Enough finale. Join us this Tuesday where we will be covering said finale. This match is just they tore the house down. That's also Kevin Owens screaming at Michael Cole. You watching this, Cole? Pay attention. Just because he's very hard on someone like Michael Cole, who kind of talks over a match instead of call the match. And I like that because there's that work shoot level with Kevin Owens. Oh, this match. Just, I don't want to go spot by spot again. What was your favorite moment of this match?
Again, just another overall great match from both guys. Just Cesaro doing his thing, Owens doing his thing, like, with the top rope fisherman suplex twist.
Oh, yeah.
That's always a great move to watch. Cesaro with his just European uppercuts, just off the ropes. Yeah, it was just great overall.
Springboard moonsault.
Yeah.
Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
That was a new one for me. I thought that was pretty fun.
That is wonderful. The springboard moonsault. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we should just move on.
Match. I wouldn't mind.
It was
fine.
But
no, my point, I think considering what we've seen of Cesaro in the past few months, I feel that if they were given maybe like a main event spot like on Raw, I think that they can just have a match even better than the one they had at SummerSlam.
Challenge accepted, they say.
If ZZ doesn't finish Cesaro off on Tuesday,
I will
and
say
there's
this.
anything left of him.
I'm really hoping that Kevin Owens is in the main event of Raw tomorrow, just for the sake of pretty much main evented NXT Brooklyn, semi-main evented SummerSlam, and now main evented Raw. That just goes to show you no matter what you may doubt yourself in the way you look, greatness will always rise to the top. And Kevin Owens is the perfect example of that, because obviously 5 years ago you would have never thought he'd be in the position that he's in right now.
Yes,
just based on his look alone. But again, it's not about looking anymore. I mean, obviously it helps. Hint, hint, Roman Reigns. Nothing to take away from him. I think if John Cena has $1 million look, I think Roman Reigns has a $5 million look, and he can go as well. But again, Kevin Owens, you would have never thought that he'd be in the position that he's in right now, so long
including
ago.
himself.
Yeah.
Pop-up powerbomb.
Going on me.
Pop-up powerbomb. He goes over Cesaro. I like this because my worry with Kevin Owens losing last night and Kevin Owens losing 2 straight to John Cena in that series, and then possibly losing tonight, is that you start to bury Kevin Owens. He doesn't get his heat back, whereas now he got his heat. He can move forward with, I have a win against Cesaro in a good match. And moving forward, I can go after my prize. I can go after Seth Rollins for just the United States Championship. And tomorrow we'll know where he wants to move forward.
You're worried about Kevin Owens, aren't you, Steve?
I am, because there are things, there are still pitfalls, there are still things that can go wrong for this man.
I think it's so early in his WWE career. I mean, I think I completely kind of agree where you're coming from. But he's only been in the main roster for, 3-4 months?
Yes.
Like, considering what he's done in those few months, you're like, wow. Like, when you actually look back and see what he, how long he's been there, and he beat John Cena's first match, like, I think you have nothing to worry about, Steve. Okay. I really do think you have nothing to worry about.
I hope we watch this video in a year and laugh. Where we're like, Kevin Owens, he's at the top of the card. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with this guy. Yeah. This finish was concise. This finish was clean. This finish was everything wrestling finishes are. Undertaker faced Brock Lesnar tonight as well.
Oh, did that happen?
That did happen.
Oh, that's right.
That finish was not clean. That finish was not concise.
Dirty work.
And it was a little convoluted, if I do say so myself. Or the false finish was very convoluted. This match was wonderful. This was the match we could have received had Undertaker not fallen on the top of his head in the opening moments of their WrestleMania match years ago. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's what we were all thinking.
We get Taker out to the ring. Well, we get Lesnar out to the ring first. We get Taker out to the ring, and Taker literally takes an entire Intercontinental title match to make it to the ring. And then he milks it even further.
That's where your time was, right back, Big Show, Miz.
He takes his... He does the typical dramatic, takes his hat off in the corner, and then doesn't even get his jacket off before Lesnar's had enough. And just comes and gets him.
Dude, let the guy take his coat off.
No.
Come on.
Come at this guy.
You're from the Midwest. You're supposed to be polite.
Now, similar to New Day, where people respect you and the work you do, so they cheer you in spite of you supposed to be a bad guy. Undertaker in this feud is supposed to be the bad guy. He entered a match he wasn't involved in, stopping a finish everybody wanted, and then kicked the guy in the balls. And then continue to do it and say, I want to keep doing this. And he should be the bad guy, but because he's the Undertaker, he's not. And no one's going to boo the Undertaker. They're going to cheer the Undertaker. We also like seeing Brock Lesnar suplex people and beat people up and dominate people. So this match was kind of face versus face, in spite of Undertaker really trying to get some heat. Really trying.
And getting some blood out of him.
Ooh, really early in this match, and it's kind of a staple of a big match with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar gets thrown into the corner. The camera cuts away, camera cuts back. Brock Lesnar's bleeding. We
weren't really sure why or when.
Well,
or how.
It was clearly the turnbuckle. He was thrown in the turnbuckle so hard that his forehead busted open, when really the camera cut away and he probably bladed his forehead. Which is something the WWE doesn't like their wrestlers to do, which is why Brock Lesnar does it. Because he's Brock Lesnar. And he, as we can tell from this match, he just does what he wants. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And that's okay.
It gives you great matches like this. George and I were at the same party, and like an idiot, I said, I'm going to drink every time there's a suplex, a finishing move, or when The Undertaker does this. I drank a lot in this one match.
I was going to say, wait, you guys have been drinking? You don't really seem like you're enough fun to have been drinking.
This was like...
I think you maybe could... There we go. George just passed out. Now that's more what I'm talking about.
This was like 3-4 hours ago. We're fine now. But I knocked some back in a very short period of time during this match because there were a lot of suplexes.
Okay, he was drinking O'Doul's, so it's okay.
Why am I not surprised?
It was Moosehead Lager. It looked like O'Doul's. That is an independent Canadian lager brewery.
Wow.
Also on sale at the CVS.
You have to have a beard to drink that.
Undertaker chants, Suplex City chants. How many suplexes was this tonight? I think 5 or 6.
I didn't count, to be honest with you.
5 or 6. I'm sure someone will mention it in the chat. 3 German suplexes by Mr. Part-Timer, says AJ. Mr. Part-Timer, that's a nice way to describe Brock Lesnar.
They're both part-timers.
He makes it count when he's in there, though.
That's true.
We have a decent back and forth. Brock Lesnar takes Undertaker to the outside. F5 into the Spanish announce table. French announce table. Sorry, the Spanish announce table is to the far end. It's about time we stop breaking the Spanish announce table, especially on pay-per-views like this where there are 3 announce tables. F5 into the table, Brock Lesnar runs back into the ring, and at some point in the midst of this F5, the little cut that was just a bit of blood became a lot of blood.
Yeah.
A whole lot of blood.
And drool, there was all kinds of stuff
He
all over
was
his
just
face.
a monster. It was awesome. He gets in there. He rolls under the ropes. Referee starts counting to 10. Undertaker gets in at 9 because he's the Undertaker. They fight some more. And we get the one spot we were all hoping for, which was the Lesnar sit-up, laugh at you. I'm bleeding.
So cool.
I'm bleeding. This is awesome. Lesnar laugh at you. And then we get the Taker sit-up. Like, it's usually accompanied with the bong, just the Taker sit-up. We also get one of my favorite moments of this match as well. We get, I'm going to kill you. And then Taker says, you're gonna have to.
Yes. I knew there was a reason he'd be saying that. Because they don't say that all the time. That's
You
pretty
wrote
crazy.
that down. I'm going to
I
kill
did.
you. You're going to have to.
because before Undertaker said you're gonna have to, I was like, oh man, he's saying he's gonna kill him. That's crazy. That's kind of inappropriate. That's too much. What's going on? That never happens. But then
Do that again.
no, that was all I had.
So, I'm gonna jump forward to the Kimura, because we're running a little low on time.
Let's do it.
Kimura locked in. Lesnar has the legs hooked. His shoulders are on the mat. From our angle, the referee goes to count a 1, and then the bell rings. Referee yells at the timekeeper. Why did you ring the bell when I tell you to ring the bell? That's your job. That's how wrestling's worked since the 1920s. I'm the referee. I make the decision. I have you ring the bell. And then you tell Lillian Garcia to tell everyone else what I think happened. That didn't happen. And then in the midst of all that, Lesnar's turning towards. We get another low blow from The Undertaker. And then Undertaker goes over. We then get an ensuing schmaz with the footage that now comes out that Undertaker did indeed tap on Brock Lesnar's leg out of the view of the referee, but also out of the view of the timekeeper. Something's fishy here.
What do you mean? I thought the timekeeper saw the tap. That's why he rang the bell.
Timekeeper claimed to see the tap.
That's what we're supposed to think.
I think he saw it.
I think he
saw it. That's why he rang the bell.
I think he could have.
I thought it was a good finish, to be honest with you. At first I didn't, and I liked it.
I think he could have only seen it from a monitor. I like this finish if this is how we start that timekeeper's career.
Well,
I like that finish if that timekeeper had Kane in his ear, corporate Kane, to help his brother. I like this finish if we... Obviously, I don't
If
hate
we see the timekeeper and the ref go take it
think-
down at WrestleMania,
I think we're focusing way too much on the timekeeper. As opposed to like the whole, backstory. Because nothing's gonna happen to the timekeeper. That guy's gonna be still schmucking to nobody in about a year. But I'm not gonna lie. At first, I hated the finish until I saw Taker tap, and I was like, okay, that I think is a good finish. I mean, and also like Lesnar, the fact that he passed out, and I love the fact that he had him in the Hell's Gate, gave him the middle finger.
Yes.
Before it's like I know I'm gonna pass out, but before I go. F you. Here's a middle finger.
Yes.
So I love that part. And honestly, like, I was thinking, like, man, is this how his first pinfall loss is going to be after beating the streak? And no, it was a fluke finish.
I didn't tap out. I did not submit.
And you tapped first, to be technically speaking.
And you tapped out before that happened. And Brock Lesnar, in typical this version of Brock Lesnar fashion, will not have to say any of these things. Because Paul Heyman will. He has to stand there. Or not stand there. Because, I guess tomorrow night Lesnar will still be in town. But 2 weeks from now, building up to whenever this happens again, Paul Heyman can just come out and say it without Brock Lesnar being there. And that's the beauty of being Brock Lesnar. And working the schedule he does. Paul Heyman, who does speak for Brock Lesnar, shows the footage and pretty much announces Brock Lesnar the winner.
Yeah, and we won't see him again until they're gearing up for WrestleMania.
We'll see him tomorrow. And I think we need something
tomorrow.
Survivor Series.
I think Undertaker's going to wrestle Survivor Series. Just for the simple fact that it's 25 years later.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the only reason why. I think that's where they're going to how they're going to market Survivor Series.
I like that. I think this moving forward leaves the door open for a rubber match. I think moving forward as well with The Undertaker, your money is Sting, Taker, Dallas, Texas. Nothing happened tonight to move forward to that, other than he got to beat Brock Lesnar in whatever way he did. I think we should see a Survivor Series, possibly a Team Brock, Team Taker. And there's rumors on our chat room that
Those people know what's up.
that Sting is flying into New York as we speak to move forward that feud. I would love that. I don't buy that particularly, but that's how this show ends, with Brock Lesnar holding his hand up as the winner in spite of not winning. And we're going to see all these people tomorrow night in the same exact building.
Just one more very, very technical wrestling-y related thingy about this Lesnar Undertaker match. If you didn't know better, wouldn't you think that Brock Lesnar would be with Michelle McCool and Undertaker would be with Sable?
In what way?
What?
Just time-wise
Just
and
looking at them
legendary-wise.
and-
Yeah, and age-wise.
Yeah.
You guys weren't supposed to contemplate this. You were
Sable-
supposed to be
Sable-
like, that's not wrestling-related, Christy.
No,
Sable is much.
On that note, let's
Sable
go
is
home.
older than Brock Lesnar, so I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Wouldn't you think it would be the
Age-wise,
other way around?
Age-wise, you are correct.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't have
We don't
anything
know.
else.
Is that what you
Okay,
do?
anyway.
Is that what you-
And
who's
then-
everybody married to?
That is what I do.
What
That's
can
my
I
research.
do with that
Well-
kind of information? See,
If people have something to ask or something to say about that question
Yes.
that Christy's asked,
Please, y'all, tweet me and
can the people
Instagram
find
me
you?
and all that good stuff. I am everywhere at Christy Reports. And please also check out ChristyReports.com.
and I have pretty much questions to all the viewers and listeners and everything. So there's a technicality, and I got the most wins for the pay-per-view prediction panel, and the tiebreaker was how many finishers people are going to get kicked out of. I counted 5, to be honest with you, and maybe 4, and I picked 5. Tom Connolly picked 8, and I think there was some issues with, well, what's a finisher? Is a last ride a finisher? Because I say no, it's not a finisher. The Tombstone Piledriver is his finisher. It was his finisher that he hasn't finished the match with in probably 10, 15 years. And also, I don't consider, if somebody runs in to break up a pin, that doesn't count as kicking out of a finisher. Therefore, I think that I am the rightful champion, prediction champion. And honestly, if anybody disagrees, hey, I'll give the title back. But if anybody, hey, tell me, what do you think? Tell me how many finishers people got kicked out of at SummerSlam. And then I'll see if I wear this belt for the next month.
I'm going to go with whatever he says.
we will see.
Because the champ is here.
As the
Have no fear. The champ is here.
as the pseudo commissioner of the predictions championship series, tweet at me at Steve Kauffman, KAUFMANN. I'm covering Tough Enough with these fine folks, plus Christian Rosenberg. This Thursday, I will be covering Suits and Mr. Robot, all 3 of which are season finales, and I will be tweeting at those things at Steve Kauffman, KAUFMANN. Please join me, and thank you for watching.
And you can follow me at G Hermoza. The road to
Oh.
400 followers begins.
You used your time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.